creativity is important because it helps us process and express things. And we're not doing that. This is very, very serious and very sad. As a society, as a planet, we're not simply being honest and telling the truth.
And today it's a huge, huge privilege to have who I would call a creative mentor and somebody who's helped me during a real soul searching period in my life to figure out what my creative vision is. And that is Kato Wong. So welcome. Nice to see you after so long.
Thank you. It's been too long. Yeah, really lovely to be here. Thank you.
So Kato, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I was a doctor. I worked in emergency medicine, A&E in East London. And I left 8 years ago because I'd enjoyed being a doctor in many ways, enjoyed A&E for many reasons, but I had this nag, this hunch, this little strange, annoying hunch that I needed to go and see if I was capable of more creativity. So I was doing a bit of music, a bit of installation art, but I had this hunch that I could do more, that I was capable of more, that I had more creative potential, but it was just a hunch, nothing else. So I left medicine 8 years ago, one day, very suddenly, to explore my hunch to see if I was right. And I worked very, very, very hard for a long time. And I've got a completely solid creative process now. So I'm very, very creatively confident. And I'd say to people, look, I'm creatively blocked. Do you have any advice? And people would say, well, it's just one of those things. And no one could help me. And I felt very alone and really stuck. Just no one knew anything about the mystery of creativity. And when I left medicine to read about it, to work on myself, to stop and rest and to really learn, I learned that creativity is actually very practical. Yeah. And in that way, I realized, well, simply if what I'm doing to block myself is like steps 1 to 10 and onwards, surely anyone can do steps 1 to 10. And I realized I need to see if I'm right. So I went out and started making friends with some homeless people in East London. So I started teaching them steps 1 to 10 after getting to know them, and it worked. They unblocked. It was just like a miracle, and that changed my life forever. So ever since then, I've been harassing hundreds of people across the board, everywhere, about the importance of creativity and their own creative potential, because it is universal. We all have we all have the same creative power. It just, we all just do it in different ways, different forms. So for you're a musician, another person might be a sculptor, and that's the beautiful thing about it.
Just when I first met you, probably about a couple of years ago now, I was in a state where my vision was so confused. Like I didn't know if I wanted to be a doctor. I didn't know if I wanted to do music. I didn't know what it meant, but I knew it was kind of a hunch as well. And it was this inner thing that needed to come out, and you very kindly helped clear away the dust in my vision and just helped me see that there's creativity in everything, and where I am is the right place to be. And I'm forever grateful for that part of the journey that you shared with me. As you mentioned, it can cross disciplines. So creativity has got a huge potential in helping people discover something that you can't express in words. How does music fit into that process for you?
So how does music fit into the process of conveying feelings that you can't say? Wow, amazing question. Very clever. Shit. Okay. Well, like when I was a kid, a teenager, music was my art form. It was my main love. And in my early 20s, I started to make the move, explore fine art, starting with installation art. So I first became a proper fine artist through installation art. But for music, for me, I think it's quite physical, like compared to photography. Photography is physical, but not in the same way. It's just, maybe this is the best thing I can say, is that it's almost impossible to describe. But I really, really like music. Has always been very important to me. It still is. Like I deeply, deeply love it. And there, that's how much I love it.
Yeah. So
I'm actually stuck for words because I love it so deeply. That's probably my most honest, helpful answer, honestly.
yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and I think it's the I don't know. Again, I'm speechless, but it's the silence, it's the feeling which you can't put into words, is what you're trying to describe in words, which is
True.
impossible. In terms of the mental health side of things, and you've worked and you've been trained as a doctor, and my experience in A&E when I worked there, you just see everything come through the door. You see the peak of human emotion from all sides. It really is that kind of center of craziness. Or do you have any ideas of how music can be collaborated with mental health, or to be used in a way that can improve people's mental health?
Creativity generally is really important for mental health and well-being. We all have the same creative potential, but some people music won't be as important to them. Maybe painting is. So generally, what I say is that creativity is vital for well-being and mental health. So why is creativity important in the first place to all of us? Well, creativity is important because it helps us process and express things, and we're not doing that. This is very, very serious and very sad. As a society, as a planet, we're not simply being honest and telling the truth on a global, universal scale. Okay, like you can see it in every scale of everyday life. So, for example, like when we bump into each other in the street, we say, "How's it going?" We go, "Yeah, cool. Let's meet up for coffee sometime." We walk off. We never say, "Actually, like I'm grieving." Actually, like I'm really sick, or I'm missing my girlfriend, or I'm going through a breakup. So we're not on the habit of telling the truth, and instead we're all just on autopilot. And so creativity is simply the practice. Simply, really, creativity is the simple practice of being honest all the time. So, like, if you were in front of a canvas or you had a guitar, if you're creatively powerful, if you've unblocked your creativity, you are able to simply tell the truth through your guitar. A chord, I've broken up with my girlfriend, I'm sad, I'm grieving. And so that's all creativity is. It's just the practice of simply being honest and telling the truth all the time. So that obviously is much better for us in every way, right? Like if you do that, then your relationships improve, your sleep improves, your appetite goes up because you're living the life that's right for you. You're more authentic.
I think that's incredibly put. And one of the big lessons I learned from speaking to you, all those years ago, was vulnerability. And the honesty in creativity comes from that vulnerable place. And that's when you can create something that is powerful. It was changed the way I look at my own music and the way I play guitar. How do you think the pandemic has impacted people, and how do you think creativity can help people through this?
So before the pandemic, I was mainly making money and working as a film director and actor. And then the pandemic happened and I just lost everything, like all my auditions, all my castings, all my roles, like the films I was about to make just died overnight. Okay. So I was devastated. I was very upset. And so I did the right sensible thing, which is what I've learned over the years, which is what I teach too, and I practice it. I grieved for a while. I stopped and I was appropriately upset. And then once I had gone through that acute like emotion of the devastating loss and disorientation and the loneliness, I thought, well, okay, I can't make money from making films or art at the moment. So I returned to my coaching practice as I coached you. A couple of years ago, I started coaching again, and people email me from all over the world asking for my services. People who never stopped to think and process things. Suddenly they were anxious and they weren't sleeping. It was very, very painful for all of us. And it gave a lot of people time to sit and think about their behavior and where they are in life. And some people then start to work on themselves, and some start to work under my supervision. So it affected people very profoundly, and it made me stop and think about a lot of things very, very deeply. And it really tested me and stretched me.
So I just want to talk about this track that you've sent in. So it's like a visual music experience called Shadowplay. So I'm going to play it. So if we just play it. That's an experience. I think I always describe your work. your work is an experience.
That's what people say. Yeah, for sure.
It's just so much beyond the mediums that you use, and I just
Thank you.
I'm always in awe.
A lot. Thank you.
Tell me, what is that about?
What was it about? Well, it was probably about 3 or 4 weeks into lockdown, and I was just working very, very hard to like stay mentally healthy. And yeah, a few weeks in, I didn't really have any money because I'd lost everything overnight. But I had a hunch. I had one of those hunches that it might be a good idea to just borrow a bit of money off my mum and buy a new toy. So I said to my mum, look, I reckon I can pay you back soon, but can I just borrow like 100 quid for a little just to update my software? And so I just updated it, and wow, that was smart. Like, but immediately I just started writing that. Like immediately, wow. I just opened up my laptop, started mucking about. Within minutes, I come up with a bass line, and then I wrote the whole thing around it really, really quick. And I was so happy. Maybe this is pertinent to this interview, you know, like I was so happy, and yet I was so upset, you know, for myself, for everyone, for my friends, you know, I was so upset. And yet I found, shit, I'm really enjoying myself for like these few hours, and it was so wonderful. And I then locked myself, I chained myself to a desk and just like knocked out a load of bangers like that all weekend and had a whale of a time. So like, you know, like back, you know, and then I made the video in an attic with strobe light. Yeah. So I'm really proud of it. I love the whole process. I mean, you know, really creativity is about the process, and it was the process that was so joyful. Like I'd never done like that video is like really surgically, like mercilessly edited. And I've never sat there like just going like to the nth degree, just like going crazy for hours, just going, no, that one frame is a millisecond out, like really pushing myself to that degree. So I learned a lot from it. It stretched me, and that's what creativity is about. That's why it's so much fun, you know, and that's why it's so important, right? It stretched me. And
I feel it when and I've mentioned this before, that when I hold my guitar, it's like I'm holding a hand. When I've got the hand around the neck and playing, it's like I'm holding a hand. And it's that comfort that helps me kind of just let go and release in improvisation. And for you were able to create this incredible experience. That's the only way I can explain it.
It's a lot. Thank you, man.
Yeah. So what's next for you, Kato? What's next? What are you up to?
Well, my plan for the rest of the year is I'm currently in the process of finishing my latest film called Saturn. So I shot it over summer. The rough edit is done. I'm now writing the music, which has been extremely hard work. Like writing music, like completely original new music from scratch, to like a moving image is the hardest thing ever. So the shape of the film now is there. So I'm getting there. It'll be finished soon. I'm so proud of it. It's a really special film. Awesome. And you'll love it. I mean, if you think what you've seen now is intense, just wait till
So cool. Thanks a lot, Kato. I think
I enjoyed that.
Again, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on and speak to you after so long and catch up. Where can we find you? Where can we find out more about your work?
Best thing to see my website, katowong.com, or follow me. I'm posting content daily on my Instagram account, Kato Wong Artist.
Join us next time for our next amazing guest, and we'll see you then.